I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, November 3rd, a frosty morning here in some of the suburban locations of Philadelphia. Much of the Mid-Atlantic region experienced their first frost of the season late last night, early this morning, and it looks like temperatures should drop to near the freezing mark in many areas to the north and west of the big cities along the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor late tonight. And again late tomorrow night, as we are in a colder than normal pattern in the Mid-Atlantic region. Temperatures should in fact remain below normal right through the upcoming weekend. It will be mainly dry over the next few days, but then over the weekend we'll have to watch for the development of a strong storm just off the east coast of the U.S. That storm could impact the Mid-Atlantic region the second half of the upcoming weekend. The GFS model has it farther to the east, a little bit more progressive of a pattern. It misses the Mid-Atlantic region, but the European model, which we'll take a look at, I think has a little better handle on the situation, certainly has the potential for an impact from a coastal storm probably around Sunday of the upcoming weekend. Let's just take a quick look here at NOAA's forecast map of total precipitation amounts for the next 5 days. Really two areas I want to emphasize. Again, this is from NOAA's Weather Prediction Center. First of all, a lot of rain over the next several days out across the U.S. West Coast, really from British Columbia, Vancouver Island area, all the way down to the northern half of California. Significant rainfall over the next several days. Some of that spills over into Montana and Idaho, for example, over the next 5 days. Also, a lot of rainfall down across Texas. But this particular area right here, this is kind of an area of interest. NOAA's kind of going with the GFS model right now in that it pushes off that coastal storm this weekend far enough to the east that it avoids much of the Mid-Atlantic region. This is certainly a question mark in my opinion. We'll have to see over the next couple of days, and we'll take a look at the European model. Again, there's a possibility of more rain than what NOAA's showing right here in at least the eastern half of the Mid-Atlantic region, probably in the Sunday time frame. Well, before we take a look at the European model for the short-term forecast possibilities, let's kind of look longer term here with the ensemble run of the GFS from last night at 6Z. Just looking at 5-day rolling averages, first of the 500 millibar height anomaly field, and then of the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. Two things to note here. One, remains colder than normal much of the eastern U.S. right through the end of the weekend, it looks like. But then next week looks like it'll turn warmer across much of the nation, and that will be followed by another influx of colder than normal air. So really three things to note. Cold for now, warmer next week, and then cold again to follow that. First of all, this is the current 5-day period, the 500 millibar height anomalies, and we're talking about days 1 to 5 here from today through November 8th. Still, upper level trough reflected here along the eastern seaboard, and that also includes this coastal storm possibility for the upcoming weekend, but basically below normal heights, below normal temperatures along the east coast for the next several days. Now let's just gradually move into next week, and here we have a ridge popping up over the Great Lakes. This is now days 5 to 9, November 7th to November 12th for a rolling 5-day period, and this will be associated with warmer than normal temperatures next week across much of the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic region, Northeast U.S., and then that just kind of translates to the east, and here we go by the latter part of this time period, days 11 to 15. Let's go out one more day, days 12 to 16. We're now in the middle part of November, November 14th and the 19th. Look at that, another upper level trough situated along the eastern U.S., and that too should be associated with colder than normal temperatures. In fact, let's take a look at those temperatures right now. This is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly forecast map. Again, rolling 5-day periods here. This is the current 5-day period that we're in right now with colder than normal conditions. And places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City should remain below normal right through the upcoming weekend. And then as that upper level trough scoots off to the east and a ridge starts to pop, look at this. much warmer than normal conditions throughout much of the eastern, really the eastern 2/3 of the nation by the time we get to days 5 to 9, November 7th to the 12th. But that is not a permanent feature either. It scoots off to the east, and here we go with upper level low starting to move back into the eastern U.S. by the time we get to the, let's say, the 3rd week of the month of November. Colder than normal conditions here in the eastern half of the nation, warmer than normal confined to the western U.S. Again, we're looking ahead here all the way out to the middle part of the month of November. Well, now let's take a look at last night's European model run from WSI Incorporated. First of all, this is the forecast map for this morning right here. And again, colder than normal conditions throughout much of the northeastern part of the nation. The first frost of the season took place. Let's reposition that map here. Now, the first frost of the season took place late last night, early this morning. Many suburban locations across the I-95 corridor, and temperatures should drop to near the freezing mark again late tonight and late tomorrow night in this colder than normal air mass. Now let's move forward here as we go into the upcoming weekend. Here we are now, Thursday morning forecast map, and notice the precipitation area starting to expand down across the Gulf of Mexico region. And watch that particular area here. Now we get into Friday morning. Again, a lot of moisture showing up on the map down by Florida and the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And that develops into quite a strong coastal storm. Here we are now, Saturday morning. And again, this is the European model run. Quite different than the GFS, but I'm tending to favor this particular model right now. And here we go into Saturday evening. And finally, by the time we get to Sunday morning forecast map, a strong coastal storm sitting right to the east of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And the European model indeed has that intensified by the time we get to Sunday night, with low pressure situated off the Mid-Atlantic coastline and rain backing in all the way to the I-95 corridor region. So this is something we'll monitor over the next few days. We have time to analyze this as we go through the rest of the work week. In the immediate term, colder than normal conditions continue. Temperatures drop to near the freezing mark late tonight and again late tomorrow night. Many of the suburbs to the north and west of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and we'll monitor over the next few days the possibility of a storm off the coast. It could have an impact in at least the eastern half of the Mid-Atlantic region in, let's say, the Sunday night time frame. That's it for now. For Paraton Weather, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.